Hello, everybody. This is Carrie with the Unicorn Company podcast. Today, I am recording in a little bit of a different location, so I do apologize if there's any audio issues. Um, but this is the first of the Cattober mechs. Um, so today, we're going to be looking at one of my favorite mechs, the Cauldron-born, or as we learned much later, the Ebon Jaguar, which of course could just be called a black cat. Very fitting for Halloween and for October, and it's not Halloween right now. Anyway, but it will be at the end of the month. So the original art for this machine was my first exposure to it. It was hideous and beautiful at the same time. It was later revised, and that is what we got for the first miniature. It too is a very beautiful mech. It's 65 tons. It's sleek, it's sporty, and it's just awesome. And I want to talk about the evolution of the Mini, but also I want to talk about the capabilities of the mech itself. So we're going to go ahead and start with that. And of course, we'll go through all the Alpha Strike stuff and Battletech and everything else. So let's take a look at what makes it tick. So the Ebon Jaguar, like I said, it's a 65-ton clan mech. It's built on an endo steel frame and powered by a 325 rated extra light engine. For protection, it carries 9.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor and has 13 base double heat sinks on the Omnimex chassis for heat dissipation. In its primary configuration, it carries a Gauss rifle in its right arm as its primary weapon. At long range, this is backed up by a LRM-10 launcher in the left torso, and for seeking open wounds in enemy armor, it has an LB-5X autocannon and an SRM-2 launcher. Finally, it carries an ER medium laser, almost as an afterthought. All of its weapons carry 2 tons of ammunition, except for the SRM-2, which only carries 1. And overall, the Prime is a good machine, but very ammo dependent, which can be a weakness, and it has a battle value of 1952. Where the Prime is very ammo dependent, the A tries to add some balance and also turns the machine into something of a brawler. As its big hole puncher weapon, it has an Ultra AC-20 with 3 tons of ammunition. This is mounted on the mech's right torso. Its other short-range weapons include a right arm-mounted medium pulse laser, a left torso-mounted ER medium laser, a pair of arm-mounted machine guns, a left arm-mounted flamer, and a pair of rear-mounted ER medium lasers in the left torso. For long-range engagements, the Ebon Jaguar A has a pair of arm-mounted ER large lasers. The heat sinks haven't been upgraded, which indicated to me this is expected to be used as a bracket fire mech, switching weapons as it closes with the enemy. The BV of the Alpha is 2429, quite expensive. The Bravo variant eschews ammunition completely, turning the Ebon Jaguar into an interesting light bulb mech. The first thing I want to say is that this still only has 13 double heat sinks. Keep that in mind when you hear its weapons loadout. To begin, it has a pair of ER PPCs. These weapons very effectively reach out to 23 hexes. These would be considered its long-range arsenal, firing both immediately puts you over by 4 heat. Completely manageable. We would then start with our short-range arsenal, which begins with a pair of arm-mounted large pulse lasers. Now, these short-range weapons have a reach of 20 hexes. So you're probably scratching your head at this point, because those are only 3 hexes shy of those ERPPCs. So if we are using bracket ranges, wouldn't that mean that the ERPPCs are only useful for 3 hexes? Actually, no. If you alternate between ERPPCs and large pulse lasers each turn, you effectively can build up and bleed off the 4 heat every other turn. While effective is essentially over-engineering, as this problem could have been resolved by swapping out one ERPPC with some heat sinks, and it's and still had room for a couple extra close-range weapons. But I'm going off on a tangent. The other two weapons it carries are a pair of medium pulse lasers in each torso. This variant also carries an active probe to detect hidden units and target acquisition gear for artillery spotting. Overall, it's an effective, if quirky, configuration, best left in the hands of veteran players. It has a BV of 2535. Now, the Charlie variant of the Ebon Jaguar is the support variant of the family, carrying a pair of Ultra Auto Cannon 2s for long-range direct fire support with 2 tons of ammunition and 2 torso-mounted LRM-15 launchers for indirect fire support, of course. It is essentially a variant of this mech that does not want to close at all. At short range, its only protection is a pair of arm-mounted SRM-6 launchers. This variant feels a lot like the old Bombardier, only without the ammo deficiency and a couple of autocannons strapped on for good measure. This one clocks in at 1831 battle value. So, like the Charlie, the Delta Jaguar is very direct in its role. It comes as its primary weapon. That does not make sense, does it? No. Anyway, we're going to leave it in. Its primary weapon is a pair of arm-mounted Ultra Auto Cannon 10s. Wow, I might have been sleepy when I wrote this. These provide long-range power support. Oh, they're provided long-range power support by a left torso-mounted ER large laser. For close-range protection, it has a pair of ER medium lasers. The autocannons do have 2 tons of ammunition each, which should give them excellent sustainability in a long engagement. The Delta has a battle value of 2228. So, the next version of this cat that we have is the Echo variant. This variant carries the then newly developed Advanced Tactical Missile System 12 in its right torso with 3 tons of ammunition. It also carries a new Hyper Assault Gauss Rifle 20 mounted in its left arm. These systems are backed up by a large pulse laser in the right arm and an ER medium laser in the left torso. This configuration is unique in that it can leverage the ATN system's different munitions to engage effectively at any range. This configuration has a battle value of 2391. So then we get into the H, or Hotel variant of the Jaguar. Well, Ebon Jaguar, because I think there's actually a mech called the Jaguar. Anyway, so this thing is a heavy laser demonstration platform. It is also a rework of the Alpha. The H is a short-range brawler. It has 3 additional double heat sinks because of the massive heat load of the heavy lasers. It has a right arm mounted heavy large laser. Its left arm has a pair of heavy medium lasers. It has a medium pulse laser in its left torso, as well as a targeting computer, which helps negate the +1 modifier of the heavy lasers. The mech does retain the Ultra Auto Cannon 20 in its right torso. This configuration is extremely deadly at short range, and also rides high on the heat curve, and if used properly is very deadly. This is once again another configuration I would only recommend giving to a veteran, and its battle value is 2359. So, next up we have sort of an oddity. The Ebon Jaguar uniform configuration. It's more like you for underwater though. It has 3 additional double heat sinks. It has 5 underwater maneuvering units, letting it essentially jump through water, but not through air. They work like jump jets when the mech is underwater, and its weapons loadout is symmetrical with each arm, carrying a large pulse laser and an ER small laser, and in each side torso it has a long-range torpedo 15 launcher. Now, this is very straightforward as a configuration. The pulse lasers and long-range torpedoes have similar range brackets and give it a good punch, along with the underwater maneuvering units, allowing it to move very well underwater. The biggest drawback is it is very specialized. Personally, I would love to see something like a Victor variant that has the torpedo launchers swapped with missile launchers and the underwater maneuvering units replaced with jump jets. This ultra specialized configuration has a BV of 2593. So there's a couple configurations I missed in alphabetical order, and I do apologize. First of those, and this is because of the Il-Clan books. First of those is the Foxtrot configuration. This version of the Ebon Jaguar is a multi-range fighter, primarily for long range. It has a pair of ERPPCs. They're backed up at any range by a pair of torso-mounted ATM-6 launchers. Excuse me. To handle the mech's heat, it carries 5 additional double heat sinks. And to add a higher degree of accuracy, it does have a targeting computer linked to the PPCs. This has a BV of 2681 and is actually pretty close to the U as far as capability. I do wish they were pulse lasers instead of PPCs, but that's a different thing to talk about later. Next, we have the Gulf configuration. The G configuration of the Ebon Jaguar is a very hard hitter, but it does so at the cost of carrying any secondary weapons. In its right arm, it has an improved heavy large laser. It doesn't have the accuracy problem that the standard large heavy lasers do. In its left arm and torso, it carries a massive Hyper Assault Gauss Rifle 40. I mean, I think this is the highest rated weapon you can carry in the game. In theory, this mech is a highly destructive. It's just extremely destructive in what it can do. In practice, 2 weapon crits and this thing is out of commission in the standard BattleTech game. The BV of this variant is 2849. This is almost 3000 BV on this version of the Ebon Jaguar. Next, we have a configuration. It's kind of a weird fusion of clan and inner sphere technology. The Tango configuration. This mech utilizes a single inner sphere weapon system in its right torso. A pair of Thunderbolt 5 launchers. Well, it's a pair of those, but still, it's a single system when you think about it. In its left torso, it has a Streak LRM-10. Its right arm has an ERPPC, and in its left, it has an Ultra AC-5. As a backup weapon, it has an improved medium laser in its left torso. All of the ammunition is protected with Case 2, and this configuration comes in at 2219. Finally, we have the Cauldron-born X. This configuration is a short-range brawler, built around a targeting computer for increased accuracy and an Angel ECM suite to allow it to interrupt any of the current C3 technologies that exist. All of its weapons are built for short to medium range engagements, starting with a right arm mounted rotary autocannon. I didn't write the size of the autocannon. I want to say it's a 5, with 3 tons of ammunition that is protected with Case 2. The mech also has 3 ER medium pulse lasers, one in the left and right torso respectively, and one in its left arm. An ER small pulse laser is paired with the ER medium pulse in the left torso, and the mech has 3 additional double heat sinks to help with its heat load. The X configuration has a BV of 2435. Alright, so I know that's a lot to take in like 15 minutes. But effectively, most of the configurations of this mech, for some reason, eschew the idea of adding more heat sinks for more guns. But the problem is that if you have more heat sinks, or if you have less heat sinks and more guns, then you can't use all the guns. But I still like it. So, next, I want to take a look at the Alpha Strike stats of this mech. Because it's an Omni mech, I want to go over some of the base stats that every Ebon Jaguar has. Type is Battle Mech, size is 3, its target movement modifier is 2, a move of 10, armor of 6, and structure 4. anything changes in a configuration, I'll let you know. So let's look at the different configurations. The Prime is a skirmisher. It comes in at 41 points. Its attack values are short 3, medium 4, long 3, with an overheat value of 0. Its specials are Case, Flak 000, all with a little asterisk, Indirect Fire 1, and Omni. For a clan mech in Alpha Strike, it feels kind of undergunned. The Alpha variant is also 41 points, is also a skirmisher, and has damage values of short 4, medium 4, long 2, with an overheat of 2. It has Case, Omni, and Rear of 1-1 nil for specials. Basically, it's a less toolbox version of the Prime. In the Bravo configuration, it's a decent sniper. PV is 47. Its damage values are short 4, medium 4, long 3, and has an overheat of 3. It has specials of ENE, Energy, Omni, and Overheat Long, Probe, Recon, and Tag. So it can overheat up to 3 at long range. While it's interesting in Battletech, it doesn't translate super well to Alpha Strike. Charlie configuration, we have a missile boat with PV of 43, damage values of short, medium of 4, long of 3 with no overheat. Its specials are Case, Indirect Fire 2, LRM of 222, Omni, SRM of 22, and it carries... It's a lot like the Bravo configuration in base firepower, but not as effective as an electronic warfare toolbox, instead being a very good fire support unit. Delta is the variant that starts to take off the base damage gloves. It's a skirmisher with a PV of 47. This version of the Ebon Jaguar can dish out short 5, medium 5, long 4 with an overheat of 1. It has Case and Omni as specials. Basically a no-frills, decent heavy hitter. The Echo is where we see the mech start to creep up heavily in damage output. Skirmisher with a cost of 48 points. The Echo has a damage value of short 7, medium 5, long 4, overheat of 1. Specials are Case, Flak of 1-1-1, and Omni. And it's one of 2 very heavy-hitting monsters in this lineup. Then we have the Foxtrot. It is the other damage monster. It is a sniper. PV is 52. Its base damage values are short 7, medium 6, long 5. No overheat value. Very standard specials of Case and Omni. It's essentially a sledgehammer that you hit things with. The Gulf variant is a skirmisher, costs 45 points. Damage values are 5, 5, 3, short, medium, and long, and no overheat. It has specials of Case, Flak of 3, 3, 3, and Omni. The 3-3-3 Flak ability is what makes this mech very terrifying to any airborne units, VTOLs, or wing and ground effects, as if its roll misses by 2 or less, it still does its flak damage. And I imagine 3 damage to most VTOL units would be deadly. In the Hotel, we find ourselves with a similar damage value, but less utility than the Gulf. It's a skirmisher, damage values are 550, overheat of 3, it costs 44 points, only 1 less than the Gulf, and has specials of Case and Omni. And let's see. So, I mean, it's not super impressive or unimpressive. It doesn't have the ability to push its heat through in a crucial moment or anything. It's pretty bog standard mech. Very short range, but bog standard. The Tango variant of the Ebon Jaguar is a sniper. Costs 48 points. In true sniper fashion, its damage brackets are short 4, medium 5, and long 5 with an overheat of 1. Its specials are Case 2, Indirect Fire 1, and Omni. And I won't lie, for some reason it just feels off. I don't know what it is. I can't place it. It's just kind of weird. And then we have the Oddball Uniform variant. It's a sniper. Point cost of 49. It has damage value of short 4, medium 4, long 3. No overheat value. Has specials of Case, Omni, Torpedo, 222, and underwater maneuvering units. Finally has a movement profile of 10/8 10 submersible. This is an interesting unit, as when underwater, it adds the torpedo damage values to the base value. So if it hits someone at short range, it would do 4 damage underwater, 2 for its short value, divided by 2, and 2 from the torpedoes, effectively making this mech as effective in water as it is on land in Alpha Strike. Finally, there's the X variant. It's classified as a skirmisher with a point value of 52, short 6, medium 6, long 3, and overheat 0 for damage values. For specials, it has Angel ECM, Case 2, and Omni, making it a rather interesting and useful mech, actually, in Alpha Strike. So, I mean, looking at this mech as a whole, it's kind of weird. It has a job, but I can't say that it does the job extremely well. In some variants it does. It's very eclectic. It's almost like a Smoked Jaguar and adopted Novacat version of the Loki, where none of the weapon configurations are really like straightforward. They're always a mix of things. These kind of weapon configurations do transfer well to Alpha Strike a lot of times. But at the same time, it's not the best mech, but it's fun to play. So that is it for the Novacat on this very special Cattober episode, which, like I said, every week you will be getting a new Cattober mech, and 2 of those weeks they will be in the normal podcast. 2 of those weeks they will be outside of it in these little special editions. Next week we're going to be looking at, I want to say, the Novacat. I mean, if we're going to be in this wheelhouse, we might as well, go with Novacat. And yeah, I think the Novacat, Shadowcat, and I don't know what else. There's a 4th one, I can't remember, but we'll see. And next week's topic, don't know yet. I will figure that out by then, hopefully, and have an episode out to you. Should be by Friday. I do apologize for getting this out on Saturday. So y'all have a great day, great evening, great whatever it is where you are right now. Thank you very much for listening. If you like this, by the way, go visit the Facebook group. We love having new people in and just talking, and it's awesome to have that community that you can go to and talk and just, yeah. So y'all have a great day. This is Carrie signing off.